All right, we'll find out if we're on in a minute. Looks like it. All right, let's see if we have some sound. Forgive me just a moment, folks, while we test our volume. I don't hear anything yet. Makes me nervous. We have one person watching. It might be me. Hey, Jane. We have one person watching, and it's not me. It's Jane. Jane, do you have any sound? I don't have no sound happening here, which makes me a little bit nervous. Yes, you have sound. Okay. Then something's wrong with my monitor. I won't worry about it. Good. Thanks, Jane. Thanks for joining me. So I don't know if you heard me earlier. I'm in a grand opening of a gallery here in Raleigh, Centerpiece Gallery, and 4 by 6 foot painting, Skyline of Raleigh, as you know, all onto the final edit layer. There we go. All right, now I can turn that down. I don't really want to hear myself echo, but I have to hear enough to know that I'm broadcasting. All right. So, final edit, I'm going to do the same thing I did when I started the dark details, my last layer, which was dark details. I started here in the focal point in an attempt to not get too detailed out there in the nether regions, right? So let's do that again. I'll pick on that building. Just discovered a color I've run out of. Hang on. Permanent rose, probably. Well, that and Scarlet Lake, my two favorite reds. A cold red and a warm red. Permanent rose and Scarlet Lake. I have one in between, Naphthol Crimson. All right.
Okay, all right. Well, this is, these sheets are framing associates, so yeah.
So anybody watching me paint this, just trying to paint this simple white building, if you weren't a regular watcher, if you weren't an artist, you could say, I don't get it. Why is he taking so long? Why is it taking him so long just to paint that darn building? What, you just paint the thing? Well, right. It's because precisely because I'm not painting the thing. I am making marks with my brush that are interesting marks. That is my number one concern. Very much secondary that it look like this, that it look like a building. So very, very different from what most non-artists would think an artist is up to. Most non-artists would think, behold this artist painting a building. That would be a misunderstanding. No, it's behold this artist making every mark interesting. That's what's going on. And then messing it up even a little more than that. I like scratching, and one of the things I like about it is that after scratching, it's real easy to come back and tone it down a little bit if you need to, like I just did. All right, it's good enough for now. I'll be hitting, so I'm in what I call, right now, I just started what I call my final edit layer. For many years, this was the final layer, but it's not anymore. After the final edit layer, after this dries, so Monday, maybe my next work day, I'll glaze everything. Another transparent colors, any colors, many colors, any colors I want. And then we'll do more dark details and light details. And in there somewhere, I will be doing broken color is another addendum, another additional step that will be added. I'm getting more in the habit of doing my broken colors while I am doing, the other steps of the painting. But at this point, and it may be eliminated completely someday, but at this point, it's still for me, a distinct. I'm keeping it as a distinct step in the process. I'm telling myself I do not need to I do not need to be in a hurry. So it's okay to pause, I know this is so silly that I would even have to say this to myself. but it's okay to pause, take my time, think, visualize before I make any marks. Here's a little trick I've learned over in recent years about painting, especially painting architecture. And you can already see this principle emerging, happening on this painting. And the general rule could be stated in this way. Buildings like this, especially corporate big buildings, they're essentially a series of planes, right? This plane, that plane, they're very squarish, big boxes. So it's very, very obvious and very important principle in painting a bunch of plane-ish, that is, buildings made out of very distinct planes. The rule is don't paint any planes as planes. That is to say, don't paint them flat. Don't paint them as if the same degree of sun was hitting them, from one end to the other. Take this plane, for instance. There's a plane. It goes all the way down here to the side. But down here it's in the shade, up here it's in the sun. This one right here, very distinct. This is all one side of a building, you can tell that. But there's light upper in this corner. This triangle is in upper corner is a triangle of light. Everything else is dark, getting very dark as it goes, but you can still tell it's a plane. This one, not so much. So that might be a weakness, but it's generally lighter and darker down here. That pattern will continue throughout the course of my painting these planar buildings. Buildings made up of many planes, I'm saying. I will continue that practice of being careful. No planes will be painted in a flat manner. They will all, or another way, they'll all have shadows on them. Might be the simplest way to put it. What are you talking about? Okay, all the planes will have shadows on them. Like that right there. This is one entire plane along the bottom of this, underneath this shimmer wall. That's one plane, and it still looks like it, but it's bright, dark, dark, bright, dark. It's mostly in shadow. Just a little bit of it is in the sun. If you want to paint good buildings, don't paint any of them flat. This building right here is not working for me very well. The photograph is not helping me. In the photograph, this is all almost black. And I think that's a case where I'm just going to have to disobey the photograph, ignore the photograph. No, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, so I'm going to leave it until I figure out what to do. I'll go on to something else, come back to that later, so I don't attack something in a confused manner. All right, this building right here is one of my favorites from a distance, from this angle. I like the shape of it. I'm taking a lot of liberty with the colors. in the painting, liberties from the photograph. In the photograph, for instance, this building here is deep red, russet brown red, and this building is burnt orange. And you can see I'm quite far off in both cases. But the painting is much better than those are improvements, not mistakes or disimprovements. So at this point, I'm paying much more attention to the color that's already on my painting than I am the color that's suggested by the photograph. At this point, the painting itself is more of a reference than the photograph. And the painting is much better than the photograph already. Just picked up way too much red, mixing a color. Well, I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway because it might create some interest where I wasn't about to have any. So what I'm doing right now is sort of playing, living dangerously, slapping in some pretty fictitious color. Not because it's realistic, but because it's fun. Yeah, that looks nice, doesn't it? I'm gonna mix up some more slightly darker red. In this final, what I call the final edit stage of painting, one of the chief tricks, one of the main things I'm doing is matching the color that's already on the canvas. Like here, there's little bits of color everywhere that are just accidents, that are products, result of all the layers, the accidental, messy layers, if you will, that took place in my many layers of underpainting chaos. So it's created a whole bunch of colors that are quite unintentional. They were not done on purpose. They just have resulted because of the chaos that I created underneath. And if you follow me, you know that you hear me say that one of the chief goals, purposes of the underpainting stages is, in fact, to create visual chaos, to give myself lots to respond to, lots of stuff to react to. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Give myself lots to react to in the overpainting stage, if I can use that word. Now this wall right here is just a big ball of confusion. I'm so confused, I'm not sure what to do about it. So I'm not going to do anything except this right here. Since I've got red on my brush, I'm going to do just a touch of red there and there. I'll come back to that later. Okay, I think I'm done playing around with red. Almost. Let's do a little bit. Pardon me, time for a drink back here, backstage. Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
It looks good to me.
Yeah,
It's really good.
good. Thank you.
I like that size.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Good shirt.
Thank you. What next? And I'm following the photograph here, believe it or not. One of the brightest bits of color, and I like it, one of the brightest bits of light in this photograph is I don't know what it is. It might be a parking deck, doesn't matter. It's out of focus, but it's a series, a checkerboard pattern. In art, a repeated pattern like that is called a rhythm. There's a fine line between repetition, over repetition, and rhythm. So it has to be intentional. You have to convince the viewer that you did it on purpose. That it's not like, like for instance, if these trees are equally spaced, that would be, generally speaking, unpleasant. We don't want those trees to be equally spaced. But then why can I make these equally spaced? Well, I know it's because this is architecture and that's not. But and even more broadly than that, yes, because it's clear I did that on purpose. This would be viewed as a mistake unless you were trying to convey that this was a planted row of trees or something. Anyway, rhythm. My point was, the rhythm is what that's called, just in case you weren't familiar with that term. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead while I'm doing some really light stuff. I want to punch in some of the highlights here. in the part of the painting that's close to finished, at least at this stage. I'll be glazing the whole thing. In other words, the whole thing will be glazed once again. So in that sense, none of the painting is finished. It's all going to have another bath of color over the whole thing. Why? Because it'll look better. I'll probably do that on Monday, hopefully. And then you'll be convinced, oh yeah, it does look better.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm debating doing a dry brush. Yeah, I think I will. I've been debating it for a while. I'm going to use a fan brush. Get this out of the way. So that's wet paint, right? So one more time. All right, good enough. So I just smeared that paint, got that brush dirty, and then I come back and so just to soften that edge and to give a little more glow there. But it leaves a rather ugly mark here in the paint where it gets dragged out. So I redo the paint there. It's just a little touch of light right there on that corner. So now this plane of this building definitely goes from light to dark. So again, it follows the rule. Don't paint any of the planes plainly. I think I can tackle that. I'm sort of deciding one piece at a time what to do with each little part of the painting, each problem, solving the painting one little problem at a time. Let me repeat what I've said a couple times already today. Either I'm talking to myself because I'm schizophrenic, or I'm talking to people over here. If nobody's watching, then I'm schizophrenic. If somebody's watching, then the beauty in a painting, it turns out, counter to most intuition, the beauty of a painting ends up being in the parts that you don't explain, the parts that remain mysterious and a little bit ill-defined, as opposed to what most people would think the beauty in a painting is, how much it looks like a photograph or how realistic or the tight areas and so on. That is not true. Okay. Most of the beauty ends up, as I say, ends up, because it's hard to see this when you're doing it. But when you're all done and stand back and look at it with fresh eyes, you go, oh yeah, the best parts are the parts that I didn't define so well. Trying to mix a considerably darker, muted brown here. trying to mix up a dirty green to match some of this stuff in here. Having a hard time matching it. And mixing up another green, slightly less dirty than that last green. Is that all right? Is that terminology okay with you? Dirty green, does that make sense? I think it does. Okay, so now I've got some kind of muddy pea soup green on my brushes. And since I've got it, I might as well look for some excuses to put it down somewhere, which means I'm looking for where there's already, there's lots of it down here, but I'm especially even up here in the building brownish part of the painting. Is there any place where I can sneak in some green? That's a good thing right there, but a little bit too much of a good thing, so there. Oh yeah, these parts of this building, everybody in town knows that these boxes are actually green, and right now they're pink. So I'm not going to try to shift them all the way to green in one layer, but you can start shifting them in that direction. Whoops. It's okay to do stuff like that. Just remember, you're not erasing. You're painting with a rag. You don't turn your art brain off. That's called erasing. When you turn your art brain off, that's erasing. By the way, I don't have any toxic pigments on my palette. No cadmiums and no cobalts in particular. So even though I still don't recommend painting with your fingers, I do it. But I do it partly because I know that I don't have any toxic colors. So I'm a little freer. By the way, where most of us come in contact with pigments, by the way, is as a rag like this. If you use the rag to clean your brushes, what's on there? Paint, right? And then if you pick up the rag, what's getting on your hands, on your fingers? That pigment. So that's where the danger of toxic pigments comes in. And I do not want to paint with rubber gloves. Some people do. Good for you. That's not going to happen for me. But it's a good solution. It's a good answer. It's just not one I want to do. So really, right now with this green that I've got on my brushes, I'm really using it to introduce broken color to the painting. So I'll still do a separate and distinct broken color layer probably on Monday. But since I've got this color right now, I'm going ahead and doing it. And that's enough of that. I'm going to make it darker right now, darker and greener. Again, just since I've already got green on my brushes, So I've got now kind of a, oh, I don't know what color. I would call it third grade crayon green. No, it's not that intense. But it's a good match for some of this greenery down here. So this is not broken color anymore. This is local color. Okay, broken color connotes, suggests irregular color, not grass, roses are red, violets are blue kind of color. The word broken color typically, I would think, we would refer to illogical color. Which now what I'm doing is logical. I'm painting in the trees green, right? That's sensible, logical. Anyway, and I'm just doing it because I've already got brushes dirty with green paint. So rather than wasting paint and cleaning them and wasting time in cleaning them and so forth, let's just go ahead and do some green stuff down here. It's just efficiency talking. It's amazing. The green that I'm using, it looks so dark and muddy on my palette, but when I put it over here, it looks like bright green. That's crazy. Color is all about context. You can't tell what color something is apart from its context. It changes color according to its context. These brushes that I'm using right now are a little bit small for what I'm doing with them. This large area stuff, most of this green stuff down here would really be better off painted like with a 2-inch brush, a very large brush. Not these little things, but again, I'll worry about that later. I'll use those big brushes later. It's just since I've already got green on my brush. And again, happy is the artist who knows he could put stuff down with a brush and then mess it up with a rag or a finger or a fork. Ooh, I actually have a fork. I don't usually have one of these in my painting kit. Again, I need to make I know how to paint trees. I'm very good at painting realistic trees. That is not my goal here. My goal is to make interesting marks that kind of, sort of, a little bit look like trees, but they look more like marks than trees. That's the difference between realism and what I call abstract realism. The abstract realism leaves mystery and the viewer has to turn, for instance, those into trees. I don't want to spell it all out for you, for the viewer. I want the viewer to have to work with me, engage with the painting to discern trees in all this mess. And they will do it. That is, the viewers will. If I have to set the bar at the right angle, it has to look enough like trees, but not too much like trees in front of a grassy field at twilight. That makes sense? I want the viewer to feel like that's a green lawn that we're glimpsing between trees. But if I do too much work, there's no fun for the viewer. If I spell it all out, then the viewer doesn't get an aesthetic buzz from making that happen inside their own mind. Is that right, Ed? That's right. I'm going to continue with some greenish stuff. Again, just because I'm at it, because I'm got brushes already dirty with it. Some whoops, lighter yellower green up here. Let me see if I like this color. Yeah, that's all right. Too much energy over here. Diminish that. Yep. Okay, I think my days of green are coming to an end. That's enough of that. Let's do something else. And now I've got my whole palette covered with green, so take a minute to clean it up with a razor.
How's it going? How's the stuff? That's good. Feels better after the stomach wash.
All right. I don't know where I'm going next, but I'm following, by the way, a very time-honored art professor tradition of working around the canvas. Pretty standard. Don't get stuck doing one thing for too long. Do something, then move around and do something else. Fairly standard, I would think. Let's go back up to my focal area. Wow, it sure is busy. Well, there's one area that I definitely need to nail down, and that's the spire on the top of this tall building in the middle. Again, painting this pyramid white thing is easy. It's made out, by the way, it's not a solid object. It's made out of bars or pipes with sky showing in between. That just, you can't tell that from my painting or from the photograph, but it's not a solid object, so I'm trying to reflect that reality. But even so, painting it realistically is a piece of cake. Is it, the proverbial falling off the log? That's easy. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to paint the thing. I'm trying to make interesting marks that, accidentally, at the same time, look like this superstructure that's on the top of this building, one of our 3 tall buildings in downtown Raleigh. At the moment, there are taller buildings on the way, I understand. But I don't think they're on this same street as these 3. There's a tall building coming somewhere in Raleigh, right? You heard that? I think it's over by the west, do you know where JW Photo Labs used to be? That neighborhood? I think they're building a 40-story, something slightly taller than these. It wouldn't, it'd be over here. I'm gonna have to change my, I'm thinking about buying a drone so that I can do skylines of the city, from various angles. Because many places it would be a great view if you could just be 40 feet up in the air. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting tired. How old is this one? Were you here when it was built? Is it 10 years old yet? Probably. 2007, maybe 8, something like that. Yeah, about time for a new one, eh? All right, let's tackle painting some of that building then. And again, I'm using as my cue, I'm using more the colors that are already on this building than what the photograph tells me. The photograph did tell me that this building was getting warm, evening sunsetty colors from the sunset that's happening behind us to our left. So that's what's creating the warmth. It's actually a blue building, but in this photograph, it's not very blue at all. But as I decide what color to paint it right now, it's more the colors that are already there. So you see pinkish yellow, warm white up there at the top. I might just leave it at that for right now and come back and visit it again later. Yeah. So now once again I have pink, a very, very distinct bubblegum pink on my brushes, and I'm just looking around where on this painting it's a good excuse for a bubblegum pink. And again, I can use it as a broken color or as an accent highlight, bright spot. Either one. So right now I'm introducing pink into this strip of light. So that's called broken color, right? Because it's pale yellow, 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 pink, yellow, yellow, yellow. So it's broken color. Now over here, I'm putting pink in the sky because there is already pink in the sky. So this is not broken color now. This is local color, just responding to what's already on the canvas. And it makes sense because of course, pink in the sky coming down here. It's the logic, if you will, behind why is there pink down here? Well, because these pink clouds come all the way down here. What next? Okay, I'm going to add a bunch of yellow. In fact, Indian yellow is a really good, strong way to shift pink around, all the way around to orange. So I'm trying to create a fairly intense orange on my brushes right now, just so that I don't have to clean them, you know. I don't want to clean pink off and turn it to blue or green or something like that. No, it's just so I don't waste time and waste paint cleaning my brushes. Now I've got orange, and now I'm looking for where can I use an intense orange. Hello. Would you like me to talk louder so you can hear what I'm saying? Or you? Oh, would you like me to? Would you like to hear what I'm saying? Well, you can sit up closer too. I'm broadcasting on YouTube.
Oh, okay. You're doing it live.
I didn't set these chairs here, but when they did, I should have told them they should have set them closer. No, you have to come on. You can still sit in the back row or the front row, but just make the back row closer.
There we go.
Are any of you artists or painters or wannabes?
A wish.
You wish you're a painter? Wish you're an artist? But you might as well, if you're sitting there, you might as well hear what I'm mumbling about, right?
Right.
Okay, so I have real people over there. You guys aren't real. Just kidding. Jane is real. Mark Toomey in Australia. Thanks. And Marlene. And Uncle 60. The lights blind the middle building. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So one of my people said that they're getting all glare up here. So that's a great idea. So let's see what that looks like for a minute. It's not great. In fact, it looks terrible on my monitor, but it's a little bit better. Here, wait till I see it. Forgive me. I'm going to talk to you guys in a minute, but let's see how that looks. Okay, yeah. I'm going to move you around just a little bit. There. Thanks for suggesting that. Yeah, that's a better indication of what it looks like. I'm going to turn the light back on. Sorry. If you missed it, you missed it. All right, so I've got orange on my brushes, and I'm just looking for excuses. Where can I put down some orange? And of course, just because I put it there doesn't mean it's not the last word. It's not the last word. I'd rather talk to real people, really, than those artificial people on YouTube. They're used to be offended. They're all regular viewers and old friends. So the layer, what I call this layer right here, is I paint in layers and layers and layers of mostly transparent. But this layer is opaque paint. I mean, opaque, like you can't see through it. And I call it the final edit layer because it's opaque paint. I can cover up things, right? I can obliterate things that I don't want visible anymore. Like a good example would be, see these streaks going through the sky? There's streaks everywhere you look, all kinds of, that don't make any sense, right? They're not part of the picture. They're part of my painting, but they don't make sense. It's like, what's going on? We have, is it telephone wires or something? And it's at this layer that I decide how much of that to cover up or cover over, and how much do I let show through. It always surprises me how much I can leave it and it's okay. But there's always a little bit. Like I think right in here in these clouds, I'll probably, not right now, I don't have the right color in my brushes, but I'll cover up some of that just so that people aren't truly confused. But all of this, like this, what is this orange? Why is there an orange mark? Well, if you start asking, then you say, well, why is this green mark and white mark and blue mark? But here, this part of the painting is mostly finished. And that actually answers the question, why is, like, this is not finished. So right now, you just see a big orange streak through the middle of the trees. It doesn't make much even visual sense. But here where it's finished, this was a blue streak. Had nothing to do, I didn't pick up, it's like a big oil painting crayon, one of these. I didn't pick it up and say, I bet you a blue streak would look good right here. It wasn't like, I just kind of like it looks like. I just stood back and made all these random messes. When I'm finishing the painting, it often surprises me how good stuff like that looks. It doesn't look realistic. So if you're, in your mind, if good means realistic, then you and I are on a different planet. See, I can do realistic, but that's not what I'm about. I'm about interesting. And so even though it doesn't look like anything real, it's like, I don't know what that is, but it looks kind of cool. I feel kind of weird saying it looks kind of cool because I don't know what it is. That makes sense? So that happens everywhere. And even like the little purple blush right there. So I've got green, orange, purple, and blue all on this one wall of this building, which doesn't make any sense at all, except that our eyeballs kind of go, that's kind of cool. At least I hope that's what our eyeballs do. It's my job to try to figure out, how much can the viewer stand? How much of that kind of craziness? So right now I'm adding a little moral support to the orange that was already there. I haven't even tackled this building yet in this layer. And like I said, I've got here's another trick. There's a little blush of orange right there. I have no idea how it got there, because again, this is about my 12th layer on this painting. It just each one real quick and real messy. This is the real neat layer. So I don't even know how that orange got there, but I do know that if I take orange and do something like that, it's like, ooh, those two oranges are now talking to each other. And we go, oh, I got lights in the trees, I guess. You know what I mean? Just our brain makes something up to make it make sense. So for me, a lot of time, people will come up to me when I paint on the street a lot, because I paint a lot of cityscapes. And when I'm nearly finished, and they'll say something like, oh, and to think all that was in your head before you started. And if I'm being nice, I just smile and nod. If they catch me in a bad moment, I say, are you kidding? That's stupid. Because it's not all in my head. It's a process of discovery to me. It's like a flower unfolding. It's an evolving process. I don't see all this. I didn't know all those. I didn't know, for goodness sake, I didn't know I was going to have pink up here. Goodness. Who would in their right mind would put pink there? There's nothing in the, et cetera, et cetera. It's only in hindsight, as it develops, I go, ooh, pink would look good right there. And I've still got this funny blue streak that goes right there. I haven't done anything with yet, but, it doesn't look too bad. And I know some of this is for some people, the great good in painting is being realistic. Well, not very many of those people are going to come into this gallery. They're going to walk in and go, I think this is the most realistic painting in here today. So, we're sorting, we're sorting our audience out by what we're offering. But do we have any more water? Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Okay, less talking, more painting, right? The boy can talk a hind leg off a horse. So, as long as it's about art, 15 or 16 other topics that I'm excited about. Okay, so you want to be a painter? I can make you a better painter in 3 seconds. You ready? Paint with are you right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, paint with your left hand. There, you're better. Ta-da, that was easy. Thank you.
No problem.
I can't make you bother. Write my name in. Got like going sideways and glitters, you can't even see what they are. She has a big one on, I can't even see what they are. It's just nothing, they never did.
Okay, I'm going to change this orange now to brown. 'Cause I'm not finding much more to do orange right now. I'm going to dull it down quite a bit because I think there's some places for me to do some serious browning. Again, the purpose of that is just so I don't waste time cleaning my brushes. Okay, so what I'm doing right here, this, again, quite counterintuitive. Most people, most non-artists would think, you look for the color you need, then you come over here and you mix it up, and then you put it where you want it, right? That would be, and that, I think that's how most artists paint. Here I am, I'm just mixing up a color and going, oh, okay, now where? So that's not typical, I don't think. I don't think it's extremely weird, but it's a little bit weird. On the scale, most of the way I paint is extremely weird, but some of the things I do are only mildly weird. This is one of them. Right, fair enough? All right. And believe it or not, I'm trying to be fairly faithful to the buildings, to the architecture. It's really, and of course, I'm working from a terrible fuzzy folk. But I think this right here, if I change my mind, if I turn this into a, like the other side of this building, I think that just solves some issues there. Makes more sense of that. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing down, well, not the same thing, I'm going to do similar down here. I'm going to change this to a brown building. I still have quite a bit of confusion up here. I'm going to take a, nah, that is not right. Things that I have to resolve. What exactly, this right in here is all kind of a muddled mess. It's my job to fix it. I got us into this mess. It's my job to get us out. I haven't even tackled these two buildings. I think I'm actually going to lower the easel down a little bit so that I don't have to work so hard. I'm just thinking. John. Hey, man. Good to see you. I'm good. What fun.
I'm glad we caught you because we're running late. And our stand's not finished.
Good to see you, man. Come over here. Okay, everybody. This is YouTube.
Oh.
This is John Rowe.
What are you doing?
Okay, this is John Rowe. If you watch me enough, you've heard me use his name. Because I call you the John Rowe dictum. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, tell them.
Don't paint inside the line.
No, 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 no. No, it's care.
Oh, but not that much.
Don't care. Exactly. That's the John Lowe, okay? I'll tell you about it when he goes away. Good to see you, man. Don't care, just don't care that much.
Right. You gotta care just not that much.
If you want to be a painter, care. Just don't care that much. Love it.
That's great, as always.
Thank you, thank you.
You started this from
I don't really care that much. No, no. Yep, about 4 hours yesterday.
Okay.
And here since 11, so
Okay.
whatever, 10 hours in it. Yeah, I dressed up for you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. That's great. Karen's
Not even in that plastic thing, it's irritating right now.
Remember my wife Sharon?
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. Bless you.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Said that when you didn't just start that.
No, that would be. Well, actually, I've changed my whatever. I'm trying to change my career. For the last 15 years, I've been painting fast. First of all, as fast as I can. That was a conscious decision because I think I'll paint better if I care, but don't care too much. And I've been selling for like $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000. You know, I'm trying to bust out of it. So I'm out of all galleries except this one. We're dating seriously. And I'm painting big, which is what I like, and trying to get into $6,000, $12,000, $15,000. So we'll see how that goes. But the other part of that is I'm painting slower, too. So just really taking my time, and I feel like I schooled myself, which was the right thing to do. Just paint like a madman. Just paint fast. But now it's time so I'm painting slower, thinking a little more carefully, and so it's not just painting bigger and better. So pay me 10 grand and it's yours.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's great.
I don't know if it's going to work, but
Hey, it's worth a shot.
that's right.
It's easy to, you can always go back to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. I can if I find myself. Thank you, Sharon. Good to see you again.
I'm gonna walk around, go to work.
Okay. Yeah. Do. Thanks. Okay. I think what I need to do next is work on these two tall buildings, and they're a little bit too out of reach. So give me just a minute. I'm going to lower my easel down. Which of all my easels, this is the one that is the most energy intensive to change the height. Down a little bit more. There we go. I've got a screw back here that tightens. I do not trust that latch system. Voice of experience, they're talking. But now it's stable. Well, I put a lot of weight on these easels that they were not originally invented to support. So that's part of the reason I've had to beef that up. All right. Let me step back for a minute. And by the way, see what you guys are saying. Erlinda, how many? Just one layer of pencil so far. That's a long story. I did the acrylic. I compressed the acrylic stages last night when I was just experimenting, trying, instead of doing so many loose layers, tighten it up and just did one. But there's quite a bit of pencil, a fair amount of pencil evident in the paint, in the canvas right now. When I do on Monday, when this is all dry, if it's Monday, I'm going to glaze the whole thing, and no doubt we'll introduce more pencil into it at that time. That's a very good question. Uncle 60 loves pink on the blue street sign. Is there a street sign? Oh, here? It's not a street sign. But that's right. I'm glad you like it. All right. Hey, I'm sorry. Let me move you guys down so you can see more. I'm back here to look at the painting. Yeah, the building on the right needs a lot of work, and I'm not sure exactly what to do about it. So let's try some things. By the way, so that man who came by just a minute ago, for those of you who are watching, his name is John Lowe, and I lead a painters group here in Raleigh, and have done so for 12 or 15 years. I don't know how many. And he was part of the very, very first group of us that started meeting together 12 or 15 years ago. And he does abstract painting. He's a real fun personality, as maybe you could tell. More of a, jock, hang loose. I don't know what the word is. He doesn't look like an artist. He's big and strong and handsome. That's funny. Anyway, he missed it, so it was a useless, worthless joke. And yeah, that was, I quoted him for many years, I had a document called the Mostly Immutable Laws of Painting. And one of the last of those laws was, I called it the John Lowe dictum, which was just don't care too much. So, good advice. Very good advice for most painters.
Okay, well, that's pretty much that, but still Canadian.
There's no such thing as redneck Canadians.
There's a show about it.
There's really?
Yeah, it's called Letter Teeny.
What's it called?
Letter Teeny.
Letter tinning?
Teeny?
Tinning.
Teeny?
Really?
Yeah.
Is this on broadcast TV or is it
It's
a
on Netflix.
Netflix? Oh,
Hulu.
that's funny.
Not
Oh, is it Hulu?
Yeah, Hulu.
And it's about redneck Canadians?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I was born in Canada, so I have a...
There's also a redneck trailer trash show called Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, yeah, well, that's... that's local.
The Letter Teeny is pretty hilarious.
Is it? Okay.
Of 4 people, like it's just these 4 people's lives, but most of the time they're just sitting there, and you can change the setting. It's still just them sitting there, them talking in weird dialects
In their Canadian way?
that aren't funny until you watch the show.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
What they're actually talking about, and then it's hilarious. Yeah,
That's funny.
I enjoy it. That's for sure. Not all the time.
I mean, years ago, you all are too young to remember, there was the Great White North, and there was one called, well, it was a knockoff of Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. That wasn't Canadian, though. I guess that was Maine. Never mind. Bob Newhart. You know Bob Newhart show? This is on Nick at Night. You guys watched it. It was on Nickelodeon.
I watch Nick at Night.
Never mind. There have been a few programs about funny Canadians, but it's been a long time. It's time for another one, evidently. All right. So what I'm doing now is I am reflecting upon the photograph quite accurately, because there's a bunch of windows in this building, and I think that they're actually catching the light of the setting sun. I think it's reflected, but it's not reflecting on all of them, so I'm not sure that's right. But be that as it may, it looks pretty good in the photograph, and I think it looks like that. Hey, Rick.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Are you off work? Are you done
I
today?
just finished up, yeah. But it's just
Good.
neat. I thought I'd interrupt you.
No, good. Thank you. Great to see you. Thanks for coming by. So, have you met these people?
I just met them about like 2 minutes
Oh,
ago.
did you?
I
Excellent.
did, this is the first
Excellent.
time walking into this.
Is it? Well, good. I'm glad you're here. They're good people.
This is huge.
Bev's Fine Arts was a good gallery in North Raleigh. We have Celebration Six Forks for many years, and Wendy's mom is Bev, and so Bev retired 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. Wendy, how long ago did your mom retire? Did your mom retire? Yeah. Okay. So Wendy took over that, and has been running Bev's Fine Arts, and then of course bought that stuff. So I know Wendy from way back, and she's good people, and I'm real glad. I was happy for Nicole
Yeah, me too.
to be relieved of the burden. I love Nicole, love what she did,
She's having a really hard time.
but I wouldn't. Anyway, kudos to her. But anyway, Wendy's good people, so I'm really excited about the way things have turned out here.
Wow, man, we'll continue, buddy. It looks great.
Thank you. Good to see you, Rick. That's Rick, owner of Seaboard Cafe. Google it, you locals. If you don't know about Seaboard Cafe, you're missing it. Do you know about Seaboard Cafe? Okay, good. That Rick owns Seaboard Cafe. He's got the gift of hospitality, the gift of serving food, making people happy. Okay, let's see how that looks. That might be okay. That might be just enough for that side of that building. Now, this side of the building still needs work. And it's actually almost a little bit too busy. So, I don't know if any of this can be smoothed out. Nope, it's all pretty dry, pretty stable. Okay, while I've got light stuff on my brushes, so I'm going to. So, what's happening here on this building is it has a number of decorative uplights shining on it. You know, the way they do a lot of tall buildings, right? So that's what we're seeing here. So it's fairly dramatic, nice skyline look. But this side of the building has sun shining on it. So some uplights and some sun. So that's what's going on here. Let's go ahead and just finish this dramatic lighting. Yeah, so that's actually pretty accurate representation of how that building looks. This one here. As I said, I'm just not completely, there's a little bit too much energy over here. Okay, so let me demonstrate real quickly. And I'm going to do this with one brush so I don't have to clean two of them. What do you do in a case like that? As I say, there's just too much energy happening. Well, the first thing to try to do is just do a simple glaze, transparent, a neutral colored, whatever color is there, very thin. I don't want it a whole lot darker than it is. So I'm mixing raw umber and ultramarine blue together to get a very, very neutral, transparent gray. Okay? So I'm, of course, then darkening the whole thing. If I find that darkening is not the answer, if it doesn't create the effect that I want, then I'll have to go back to, I'll show you. It won't be hard. And yes, it irritates me to paint with one hand, so I'll at least switch back and forth. So simply by doing a glaze on the building, I've flattened it out just a little bit. Does that make sense? I've diminished some of the highlights, making them closer to the low light. So I flattened it out a little bit. which is what I want. I want less energy happening. And do just a little bit more. And that might have done the trick. Look at, yeah. Okay, I think we're close. Having just flattened it all out, darkened it a little bit, now I'm going to do some real subtle architectural details. And the key concept here is so I'm mixing up a color, an opaque color that's just slightly lighter than what's there. And the word slight is the key. It has to be real close to what's already there, or otherwise I'm back to the problem I had a few minutes ago, which was too much energy on this side of the building. Does that make sense? Too much visual energy. So, but if I keep it real, the value is real close, then it won't be. So what I've got on my brush, I hope, we'll find out in a minute, is lighter than what's here. Yeah, check. Now is it the right color? Nope, I actually want a little redder, so a little bit of oxide red, a little brown, add to that. Yeah, that's better. And again, the architectural elements, this whole building is just like a stacked set of cubes. I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, it's a very regular checkerboard, sort of. Irregular checkerboard. Regular in the vertical, irregular in the horizontal. Boy. That was clear as mud. But again, I'm not going to try to, of course, paint a regular checkerboard. I just want to give the impression that's not too bad. A little bit busy up here, so let me smooth some of this out. There we go. We're close. Very close. Then. A few bits that are just brighter than that, which of course is a universal anyway. Anytime when you're painting in the opaque stages of a painting, which for most painters is the entire process, but for me it's just this end of the painting process. Once you put a color down, then almost always you come back, and it's easiest to do it right away, I find, and do a lighter, slightly lighter version of that right on top of what you just did. Not on top of everything, just on top of some of it, okay? So that's what I'm doing, and in this case, it also helps in making this building look like itself. All right, I think that might be enough. And then, finally, there are several lights in windows. And we're going to do that, and then maybe that building will be done. Very close to it, at least, till the next layer, till the next stage, which comes in a couple days. Any comments or questions? Oh yeah, lots of comments and questions. Paint next my wife's shoe rack. Did you spare paint on your wife's shoes? You guys are funny. That's good. All right, so if you can see, there's already a hint of some windows. I did those in the underpainting stages. And these are for sure, these are lights turned on, so there are not too many of them, just a few. Most of the office workers have gone home for the day. Just the ad agencies, the graphic designers are at work. It's kind of an inside joke. The graphic designer, and I did actually work for a graphic design firm on the 22nd floor of that building for a number of months. That was fun. I was glad it was my full-time job. I was a freelancer. I was an illustrator, but it was fun working like one of the big boys in a big tall office building. That was many years ago.
Yeah.
All right, while I'm at it, let's tackle this building over here. Yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is see if I can diminish that yellow splotch. I'm not mad at it, but I just want it diminished somewhat. I think I can do basically the same kind of thing. I'm going to save those brushes. The same thing I did on the other building, which is a dark glaze, very, very slightly dark. In this case, blue, because this building, everybody in town knows this is a blue building. To me, it's glass, you know? I don't know if that means the glass is blue. I don't know how that works. But anyway, it is definitely a blue building. So I'm going to mix up a very pale blue glaze. Do it over the whole shady shadow side of this building. Being careful not to be too careful. Let there be some happy accidents. Let there be some interest, right? Yeah, it's just a little bit too dark and a little bit too neat. So, easy fix. For the darkness, wipes them off. For the neatness, just mess it around. All right, I think that's okay now. Pick up a pencil. Redraw this line up here. All right, so next step, I think, if I simply do some of the architectural, same things, mix up a color that's just slightly lighter than all that, and do some of the architectural elements, some of the details, accurate details, that might be the end of it.
Hey, boy, we're going to go get something to eat.
Good
I'm glad you're still
Likewise.
here.
Good to see you.
Good to
Bless
see you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, it
Good
looks
to see you.
great.
Thank you.
I like your thought, the direction you're going in.
Do you?
As far as the bigger
Bigger and better?
well, yeah, but just
And
like
more
you said,
expensive?
slower and
We'll see. Sold one so far. Last Saturday.
hey, I'd say that's.
I just,
I mean, how many do you really need to sell to?
Yeah, well, yeah, $10,000 one a month would be good.
That would be great. And what if you sold 2 of them?
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're aiming for. Or 4.
I just sold this place up in North Raleigh that has some of my stuff. Sold a big black and white, and I had another black and white that was very similar. So I called the girl who made the sale, and I said, "Why don't you?" I sent her a picture of it. I said, "Why don't you call the lady and tell her that I have this complimentary piece that she might be interested in? It's just go perfectly with this other one." So she did. She emailed me the other day. She goes, "Yeah, she's interested."
All right.
She
Way
wants
to go.
see it.
Awesome.
Good job.
So,
How long you guys been married now?
9 years. We just celebrated.
I can't believe that.
I know.
I was telling these people after you left, I was telling them who you were, the ones that didn't know.
Aw.
When did we meet? Do you remember? You have a better track on that.
it was.
How many, what
well,
year?
You were doing your stuff down
Yeah,
at the
at
old
Visual
VA.
Art Exchange.
Right.
Visual Art Exchange.
Down on Moore Square.
2005?
And it was, no, it was before that.
Yeah, because you remember.
Christine
Well,
died.
You remember when
Before
Christine
my
died.
wife passed.
And when was that?
2006. So it was probably
2004?
It was probably like I'm going to say 02 or 03.
Yeah.
Right around
Wow. It's good to see you.
time flies.
It's good to see you. Good to see you together.
You too.
Bless you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Let's grab lunch again soon.
I'd love to, John. Do. Good. Do. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, that's- yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, we got John's back there. They like it. They like to see real people. Thank you. See ya. Yeah, so you got some of that story there, why John's a deer. Connection. Walked with him somewhat through the cancer death of his first wife. Whew. Good to see him. Good to see them both. Again, trying to reflect accurately the architectural elements of this building without getting into too much detail, splaining too much. Let the viewer's mind finish the picture. In fact, that one phrase, that is, in my opinion, that's one of the greatest sources of aesthetic pleasure in visual art. What is it that creates this joy buzz that gets released in our brain when we look at paintings? And this isn't the whole thing, but a big part of it is the viewer's mind. The viewer's mind finishes the picture. That's what I think is the biggest part of what's going on there. All right, I don't know how much longer I'm going to go. I've been painting for 7 hours. What time is it? Ken? All right, almost 6. This event ends at 6. I will end at 6. But I can finish up a little bit more. I made good progress today. You always wish, I wish I could have got more done, but again, that's all right. And I'm in this, I'm serious about this painting in a new season where I am giving myself permission to take more time. I'm very glad for the decision I made. Some of you may not have heard this. 15 years ago, 2004, when I made a big shift to enter the world of fine arts. Before that, I was a number of things, but including an illustrator. And as I made that transition, I made a very conscious decision. I asked myself, says I to myself, here I stand at a crossroads of life. Which path to take? Because at the time I clearly had these two paths were clearly open before me. One was to go down the sort of atelier style, serious, masterpiece-ish kind of painting. One of my, at that time, 15 years ago, one of the big influences had been a class that I took from, not from Frank Cavino, but from one of his proteges. And I loved it. I did a William Bouguereau. You guys are used to me, you know how to take this. I improved on a William Bouguereau painting. Well, after 100 years, you know, some oxidation had taken place, so I took that out of. And then secondly, his face on the William Bouguereau his face was just a little bit weird, so I fixed it. I mean, we're talking nearly on a microscopic level. But anyway, I improved. I made a beautiful Bouguereau painting. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought, wow, maybe I should do, you know, William Bouguereau-ish paintings. That would be fun. I had about 200 hours in that one painting. So, you know, I could do, maybe if I choose this path, I don't know how long ago. 6:03. All right, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go from local. All right, turn you around. All right, so before we go, and let me dim these lights so maybe you can see a little more what this is actually looking like here. Does that help you? None of this is finished. The tree is certainly not finished. This area right here is pretty close to finished. And forgive me, that sure does look like a fuzzy image to me, but I don't have a clean tissue anymore, so hang on. Is that any better? Anyway, it gives you some idea. better idea what it's looking like at this point. And that, again, that looks like a dirty lens, and I'm sorry about that. But thank you guys. Appreciate your company very much. I hope those of you who watched have had fun. I've had fun enjoying your company, enjoying your comments, and I'll enjoy checking all your comments later. If you know any artists that should be watching, I should be watching this. I should be watching this. You know who they are. Send them my way. Thank you very much. Love y'all. Bye. Hi, Matt's Art Stuff. Good to see you. Just in time to say goodbye. Bye-bye.